Hi, everybody. It's Friday night, and it's time for PoliTarology. I'm here with Sherry and Cleo, and we are ready to answer all your wonderful political questions. So if you could just put things in the chat in all caps, I would be most appreciative. And Sherry's going to help me out getting some questions up on screen, but we do have a few of our own questions that we want to start out with. But before we do, I'm just going to let everybody say hello. So Cleo, hello. How are you? What's going on?
I'm good. I'm just trying to write something here. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. It's been an interesting week.
Yes, it has.
To say the least. And so, yeah, we're going to discuss some of that kind of thing. As far as any new shows going on, I think I've got a kitchen table issues on Monday. That's with me and Marina. And that's politics also. So, whatever happens this weekend, we'll probably be able to bring that up on Monday. And that's about all I got to say.
Great. Okay. Sherry, hi. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing better. I'm still fighting this creeping crap, but it's taking its dear sweet time to go away. I'm taking the Lenormand class tomorrow.
Great.
To start learning how to do the Lenormand, however the hell you say it.
Who's class you taking?
Nath is teaching it.
Nice.
And then Denise Fletcher something. I'm sorry, Denise, I forget your last name. She emailed me. She's just starting her channel back up, and she emailed me yesterday and said, would you be a guest on my channel? I said, absolutely. So
nice.
I'm going to be on with her tomorrow night. 6 or 7. I don't remember. I'll post it as soon as I can. And so and just regular stuff. Other than that, nothing special. Things have been crazy at work, so I've kind of backed off on a few of the shows to take the stress level down. So
sounds good. Oh, I don't have my microphone over here. Here we go. Now you can probably hear me better. And what is my volume? Is my volume okay? Or how's that? It's good. Okay. All right. It probably cuts me off anyway at a certain point, I hope. Okay. So we have a few questions starred, and Sherry, if you could continue to start questions, that would be wonderful. And we will get to as many as we can. So I think what we'll do is attempt to do one person, one question. So we don't all three do each question, so we can get through more questions. But certainly if, Sherry, Cleo, if you have something really burning that you want to, input, you want to say, you just go right ahead. Okay. So I'm going to start out. And the first thing that I want to ask about is, I want to just bring up the topic of the millionaires, the oligarchs who are just losing money hand over fist because of the stock market crash. And I'm calling it a crash. It is a crash. I mean, that's a lot of money to be lost in the stock market. So how much more will they lose? Will they lose a lot more? Because that's pretty bad. So let me just see here what the millionaires are going to do. How much more are they going to lose?
Well, Nancy Pelosi has lost something like 20 some million. They started off saying it was like 7 million, but then as time went by, it went into 20 some million. She says that it's her husband that deals with that kind of thing. But you can be sure that none of these, the rich and the ultra rich that are involved in the stock market are losing a lot of money. The kind of money that during the Depression days left people jumping out of windows.
Mm-hmm.
So we just have to wait and see what happens. I'm not sure that if they hold on to their stocks, even though they've, it just, I don't know. They're losing money so fast they can't say sell fast enough without, just losing their shirt. So they're in trouble.
Yeah, they are. They definitely are.
They're totally pissed. They're totally pissed off. Oh my goodness, our president has put them his. I mentioned this earlier behind the scenes that if the people in the stock market that are friends of Trump's, if you make a lot of money, you're a friend of Trump's, and if Trump would have just gone ahead and told the rich people to pay their fair share of taxes instead of doing this tariff thing, it would cost them much, much, much less money. They
Than
wouldn't
what
have
they're losing. Yeah.
money.
Yeah, that's right. I agree.
Well,
Okay.
an economist has also said that if Donald had done nothing more than just ride Biden's coattails and just gone and played golf every day, we'd all been much better off,
Yes.
And he could
Yeah,
claim,
but that wouldn't get him the Nobel Peace Prize.
right?
And neither will this, by the way.
No.
Duh.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to go. I think you guys answered that question. I'm going to go ahead and go on to the second one. So, Gavin Newsom, he's making a lot of noises and he started a new podcast. And his first two guests were very, very, very right wing, very controversial podcasters themselves that he interviewed. So, I guess, he has a strategy. He was interviewed on Midas Touch. I saw it today, but he might have been yesterday, where he said, well, those guys have millions and millions of followers. So if I can get any of their followers to listen to us, that would be a big win for us, for Democrats. Not a bad strategy, but how is that going to work, I wonder? So that's what I'm going to look at.
I'm not really familiar what you're talking about. I mean, I really like Gavin Newsom. I don't know what the deal is with the podcast. I'm not aware of any of that. I have been so inundated by all the crap that's going on with the stock market, and how high the tariffs are going. There's something like 160 some odd countries that Trump has put tariffs on all of those countries, and a lot of them are going to retaliate. And he's like, well, you retaliate and I'm just going to make it worse. And I'm thinking, well, no, you already have. It really doesn't matter. You could say a tariff at 20%, or you could say it at 60%. It's irrelevant at this point. Everybody is just like, no, you're not going to control the world by making us pay a bunch of tariffs. You're going to be paying the tariffs. So,
Right.
but he has expanded beyond that. I'm sorry, but I don't know enough about Gavin Newsom's thing.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
well,
I'm doing the question, so I'll go ahead and do it. So he's going to have a kind of a slow start. He is going to start to gain traction. And once he gains traction, this is really going to explode for him. It's really going to explode. He's going to become really, really influential, not just in the podcast world, but in the broadcasting world. I see him, maybe even rivaling Midas Touch. I mean, big, 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 big. And his goal is to bring democracy back to this country. And one way that he's trying to do it is by reaching the far right and trying to help them understand just how bad things really are and what they need to do. So his big goal is to get people to leave MAGA thinking and to come over to a more left. Democrats are traditionally lefter, but bring them back to a more left way of thinking, a more democratic way of thinking. I also see that, his aspirations for more political office are changing. He's not necessarily a person who's going to win, or if he does win, like a president's running for president, if he would win the candidacy to run for president, I don't think he would win. But I think over the next few years, I think his political aspirations are going to change tremendously. I think he's when he gets out there and he begins to see how much influence he can have on people, I think it will really change what he's trying to do.
Isn't he already stepping down?
Well, his term's ending. He's already
Okay.
been governor this is his last term as governor of California, which is the largest state in our union and the fifth largest economy, I think, not just,
Globally.
yeah, in the world, the fifth largest economy in the world. So he runs an economy that's bigger than most countries in Europe. I mean, he just runs this humongous economy. So he could do something big like president, but maybe he has his sights set on something more global. That's what I'm going to say, because I think he begins to see that this is a worldwide issue that needs to be addressed. So that's his strategy, is to affect the right and bring them further, closer to the center. And I think he'll be wildly successful at it
Yeah.
after a kind of slow beginning. I think he'll have a slow beginning, but man, it's going to be good. I do also feel that Gavin is going to play a role when the administration is decertified and they have like that panel of people running the government. I think Gavin Newsom will play some role in that. I don't know if he'll actually be a part of the main core people, but I do see that he's going to be playing some role in that too. Okay.
Well, and I was just gonna toss in there that with Gavin, I mean, like so many of us, we were all really ticked off at him at first, like, what are you doing? And then when he explained himself, it was like, oh, I get it now. And that's really smart, because it only takes a handful who then starts talking to their buddies or family members to say, have you been listening to this guy? He actually makes sense. And for the tariffs, I think the worst thing we've done on the tariffs, or the ridiculousness, I should say, of the tariffs, is that there's this small island up around Alaska that's its own little place that he's thrown tariffs on. There's no people there. It only inhabits penguins. And so now there is a national campaign of people sending tins of sardines to the White House to pay the penguins' tariff amount. I don't know who started it, but it's brilliant because
Oh, that's great. That's really great. All right. Let's go on to the next question. Okay. Cory Booker and his filibuster, 25 hours plus on the Senate floor. Amazing. And I love saying this. Cory Booker is my senator. He is my senator.
aren't you
really?
lucky?
Yeah, he really is. He's a New Jerseyite. And so now, what will his role be in the future for all the all these shenanigans that's going on, and what will his ultimate role be? Where will he go? So that's to you, Sherry.
All right. Well, the one thing I have felt, and I have felt this about Cory for several years now. I first got to know him watching TV when he was the mayor of New Jersey, and Newark, okay,
Newark, New
and
Jersey.
and it just really struck me. Something about him just struck me, and I thought, oh, he's gonna go far. I got that right off the top, and then let's see what I pulled. Starting with the Nine of Wands. So, like so many of us, he's battle weary, but he's got the moon. So he's starting to show what's happening, because there's so much stuff that's undercover right now. And the other night, he had a big hand in showing what exactly was going on, and from there we're going to the Ten of Cups. So that to me that's really good. And from there we go to the Ten of Pentacles.
Wow.
So those are all an ending with the ending with the Eight of Wands. Whatever he starts doing, it's going to take off like that. It's not going to take him 10 years to get where he needs to go. When he starts moving, it's just going to go like magic.
Yeah. His astrology is just amazing for the United States. He is a person that is extremely spiritual about his politics. His whole connection with politics is extremely righteous. He is just the antipathy of anybody who is participating in any kind of corruption whatsoever. That is just, it incenses him. But he's an Aries, but he does kind of play it safe most of the time. But with stepping out and doing that filibuster was, first of all, astrologically, the timing was amazing that he did that. All the planets aligned to bring him into the most perfect moment for him to be doing that. And the perfect moment for him to be seen by the nation doing that. Because you got to admit, most people are not watching, what is it, C-SPAN. They're not seeing all the crap that goes on in the Senate or the House. They're just not watching that. But that series of moments that were shown on the news of him, that really struck a chord in the nation. And you know,
there were a lot of people that were going in online and watching it.
Watching it from like Facebook and stuff like that. He has an amazing future ahead of him, just an amazing future. And that's what I want to say about that. All right.
You know, just to tag on to that a little bit, and I meant to say it a minute ago is, I mean, we've had Kamala has come out, Obama has come out, Biden has come out, Kim has come out, Gavin has come out. We've got all of these newer major
heavy hitters
who are starting to speak out. It's like, I don't know if they're the ones that hushed the old guard and said, no, we're not doing it like that anymore because it doesn't work. We keep getting our behind handed to us every time we go that route. And now they're all coming out and people are sitting up and taking notice. And then you top that off with what Cory did the other day. And it was like, you know, the cherry on top. I mean, I think it really spoke volumes to a lot of just regular people, just from what I've been hearing in the scuttlebutt, you know, going around. So,
but it wasn't just that. For him to be doing that, it really energized the Democrats, because they have not been looking too good. And when he came out and said all the things that everybody has been wanting to say, but just was afraid to, or didn't have the right platform or whatever, Cory Booker come out and said the whole thing about Trump. He told it, you know, he told them exactly what was going on and how they were feeling about it, and that it had to be stopped somehow. And, you know, until they stand up and do that, I think that's why the people you're talking about, Obama and Harris and Waltz and all the other people that are coming out now and doing something, at least they're being seen. It was probably led by Cory Booker. I mean, he just, first of all, the man's Superman. He stood there for over 25 hours and talked and never peed. I mean, that's amazing. And then the information that he offered everybody, I mean, he really, it's just amazing that he could do that. So I'm not talking about that he didn't have to go to the bathroom, but I'm talking about the things he said. So,
and he didn't sit there and just read green eggs and ham. He actually discussed what it was he was filibustering about.
Yes, because it needs to change.
I heard an astrology broadcast before I came on air here where they're talking about him, and one person had really researched, you know, what went into him doing this, and what went into him doing this was a hell of a lot of physical preparation for standing up for 24 hours. He is an intermittent faster, and so he had been timing his intermittent fasting so that he stopped eating 2 days or 3 days before he was about to take the floor. And the day before he went to take the floor, he stopped drinking water. So he was in total fast, total ketosis when he was on the floor doing that. So he must have been sort of in a, you know, a a heightened
Almost
awareness, like he was
like a yogi.
like a yogi. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
like he was really in that spiritual realm when he was doing this, and the thoughts and the things that were coming to him. He did say at one point that he felt that he was here with his ancestors, that they were with him, supporting him in this endeavor.
Oh, absolutely.
This man is so connected, and yeah, not to be taken lightly. He was very, very, very connected.
Yeah, he
All right.
definitely put himself on a different energy level.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. So next is the tariffs. What's China going to do? Now, China has said that they're just pulling the plug on the whole thing about selling TikTok. Like, no, you're not doing that now. You want your tariffs? We up your tariffs and we see you with no TikTok sale. So they are playing poker. They really are playing poker, and they're not going to let anybody get away with it. And Bernie Sanders has come out and said that the whole tariff thing that is going on is illegal. So what's up with that? So
Well, is he talking in the sense that that hasn't gone through Congress? None of this stuff has gone through Congress. Is that what he's saying is illegal?
yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's all read on that one, because I still got to shuffle my cards. So whatever you guys got, go ahead.
Well, I just love it that, because Trump was banking on making a deal, because he's the art of the deal. And he was banking on, doing a thing with China where we could take TikTok and then somehow they'd reduce the tariffs a little bit. China actually is not playing that way. And, China is such a big deal to the United States that for Trump to allow these tariffs to go skyrocketing, I mean, isn't he talking like over 50%?
Some of them, yeah, he's just being ridiculous.
And so China came back and said, okay, 35% on their end. I mean, they're still being kind. I mean, they may turn around and say, okay, never mind, 60%. They can do anything they want. We are very dependent on what China has to offer us, and have, like I said in some other show, if you look around your house, probably about 90% of the stuff you have in your house was made in China. At some point. So yeah, I mean, this is the kind of stuff, though, I'm telling you, this is actually going to be a good thing, because when he screws things up so badly like this, and the country starts to look like it's going bankrupt and into a recession, this is what's got to happen for things to change.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. What do you got, Sherry?
Well, I decided to pull on it from China's perspective. First thing I got was the 9 of Cups. So that's good for them, because they're going to make money off of this no matter what, because we're too dependent on what they export.
Yes.
Way too dependent.
Yeah.
Followed by the Ace of Pentacles. They've got all kinds of new ideas brewing up. I mean, Biden and Harris were working really hard at getting chips factories brought in and started up here and all this to try to bring us up level with the rest of the global economy as far as making chips and smaller batteries and whatnot. Yeah, China just got themselves a great big boost, I should say, for moving ahead of everybody on that, because everybody's going to be turning to China. And then ending it with the Two of Wands. They've had a lot of planning, because they've been Donald's buddies for a while. So I think they kind of knew what he was thinking about doing, and they prepared. They're far more prepared than anybody else has been as far as reactions. They're just like, oh, wow, that's what you're going to do. Okay. So I'm telling you, they're going to use this as the springboard to jump eons ahead of every other country to be the leader when it comes to all electronics, all of the batteries, all of the chips, everything, where the whole world will be dependent upon them to produce this stuff. And our allies are busy making deals with them because Donald is busy turning them into our enemies.
Yeah. And so I think the real question here is then, what are all those people in Silicon Valley going to do? Are they going to move to China? Are they going to have to get the equivalent of an H-1B visa to go to China? Because China doesn't need them.
No.
China has what they need. They don't need us. And the doggy boys that work for Elon, they're not going to get jobs in China, and they're going to be out of jobs, I think. I mean, if this continues, I don't know how long it will continue. The cards that I got were just terrible for us. It ends up just sort of putting our economy to sleep. Just like our economy just kind of like goes to sleep. And then we're just like, okay, I can do without that. Because the things that we will get instead, somebody mentioned Temu in the comments, who won't be able to get Temu. Yeah, you won't be able to get Temu, but there's a lot of things that you get from China that are really good. So you won't be able to get that shit either. You'll just have garbage, I mean, not that everything that they're making in the USA is garbage. I'm not saying that, but for the price, it's just not going to compare. So it's going to be very.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to go online and buy my t-shirt from Temu for $4.
Nope.
When to buy it, I'll have to buy it if they make it here, and it's going to cost me $24 or $34.
Can you say flea market? Because everybody's going to be doing garage sales, flea market, Facebook Marketplace. They're going to be doing anything rather than having to buy new, because the new stuff is going to be very hard to pay for and to come by. So it's not going to be cool. So yeah, China's holding all the cards in this.
Hopefully this thing won't last too long. That's kind of what I'm feeling, that it can't last too long. And there is a bunch of people that are going to be on Trump to make some changes. And if Trump doesn't do that, then you're going to see something else going on that's never been seen before, because, he can't continue this way. He's ruining people. And his thing about, well, now if we make it in America, there's no tariff on it. Well, we can't possibly make everything in America, and we never have been able to make it as cheap as China does.
No,
it's never been that way.
No, not since the 60s. This started in the 60s. They've been doing it over half a century.
Yes.
Yeah. They have people in gulags that all they do is work.
Yeah.
For pennies on the dollar,
Yeah, crazy. Crazy.
I like what Libby said.
Manufacturers won't move back to the U.S. The businesses will decide it's not worth building a whole new factory in the U.S. They'll just sit out this regime. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yes. And people in the United States who have businesses that now want to bring stuff back to the United States, they're not going to do that. So you're not going to get any of that.
And what they do build here, I agree with her here. It's going to be fully automated.
Yeah. But you know what? Instead of here, they'll go anywhere instead of here. They'll go to Canada. They'll go to Mexico. They'll go to Guatemala. They'll go to Ecuador. They'll go somewhere where they don't have to put up with this nonsense.
As long as Trump is in the House, he will.
Yes, as long as Trump is in the House.
All right, it's a whole new story.
Yep. All right, let's move along here. So the judge that won in Wisconsin, congratulations, Lori Crawford. We're all very proud of you. She said that she never dreamed in a million years that the biggest moment of her career would be going up against the richest man in the world. Well, you and me both, honey. I never dreamed that either, but you got it and you overcame. So more kudos to you. But is this a sign of things to come? I mean, are they going to just do this with until they're toppled? They're, what does this mean? Him trying to buy this election and losing this election. What does this mean? And this question is going to you, Cleo.
It means that people are not scared of Musk. They're not paying that much attention to him, and they've had it with him. They
Mhm.
just, who the hell is he? Why is he even involved in this? Why are we even talking about him so much? Just because he did a little job for Trump. Trump's saying that, Elon's on his way out.
Little job.
That he's got to get back to his own business. Well, no, what Trump is saying that he better get rid of this guy because he's just really causing trouble. He's interfering in everything. So, especially Social Security. I mean, it's just crazy what Musk is doing there. So yeah, no, he's going to be on his way out. However, that doesn't mean that the kind of things he was doing won't be done by somebody else. So, it just means take him out of center stage. It was just so stupid to have it going that way anyway. And he is not being looked at well from around the world, not just in this country. So it's just, get rid of Musk. But that's, they get rid of him, and it'll be nice not to have that constant irritation on the media of him jumping around, going, look what I did. And look, I got all these people 150 years old and Social Security. What an idiot. Do you notice how that went on for a couple weeks or so? And then they just kind of dropped it because he did not know how to read the records from the Social Security.
Mm-hmm. Right. He's pretty much an idiot. Yep. So what is this portend for the future for him buying off elections? Will he continue to do that?
I don't know. Let me think about it. I hadn't even thought about that. I mean, he lost a lot of money there. I don't know if he's really willing to do that right now.
Someone said that he was starting to ask people for their money back in Wisconsin. And he wants an apology, I think, from Tim Walz for
hurting his feelings because he made a joke.
Because he made a joke about the Tesla stocks falling.
Yeah. Which was hilarious, by the way, when he did it.
As they say on the I've Had It podcast, he's just a titty baby.
For entertainment purposes only.
Yeah. All right. So, Cleo, you don't know if it's a sign of things to come or not?
Well, I think that if he goes, if Trump says, no, you go back to your business and you're not doing any more here. But I don't know that I see that we're going to see less of him. He has not really been helpful to Trump, other than, I mean, I don't know. I just hope that he's gone, that that we don't have to deal with him because he's just an interference. He's not somebody that, but then things start happening because he said they were going to happen. I don't know. I think Trump will let him go. Plus, didn't he have a limit of 180 days that he
130 days, which are up at the end of April.
Oh, okay. So, this month.
No, May. Sorry, the end of May. Yeah.
2 months.
That's 130 days. Yeah, from the inauguration day.
All right. Well, his time's coming to an end.
I think. Did I count that wrong? 130 days. That would be about 4 months and 10 days.
30,
Yeah,
60,
so that's
90.
right. 4 months and 10 days. So February, March, April, May. Yeah.
God,
all right.
He could go right now. That would be helpful. But yeah, I just see him fading into the distance. In the meantime, Trump is front and center right now, where an awful lot of people are really getting upset because they're losing a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
The rich folks, Trump wanted to make it so that the rich became richer and the poor became poorer. Instead, it's kind of shifted a little bit. Not that the rich will ever be poor, but they got less money than they had yesterday. That's how quickly this thing happens when Trump decides to pull out a list of 160 some countries, saying all the tariffs. We just discussed it, but saying all the things that he was going to do.
Yeah. Well, I was going to want to read on this. Just this came to me that they did announce that Leon was going to leave at the end of May, which is the 130 days. But and Libby, if you're still in the chat, I'm sorry. I know you already read on this, and I don't usually read on the exact same thing as somebody else, but I do want to know, is he going to leave earlier? And my cards say yes, in spades, he's leaving earlier. It's going to be pretty quick too, but I don't think there's going to be an overt announcement saying, okay, Elon's done now, bye. I don't think they're going to say that. I think they're going to just leave it hanging that he's leaving at the end of May, but then you're not going to see him anymore. He is embarrassed by the election in Wisconsin, very embarrassed by that. He is going to very quickly find out about a whole series of other things that he's very upset by. The Tesla stocks, nobody likes him wearing a cheese hat. Nobody likes him involved in politics at all, and they don't want him buying off politics. Nobody's paying attention to him for doggy. Nobody's paying attention to him for the things he's saying he wants to do. Kid Rock had a meeting in the Oval Office, just like he did. I'm sure that irked him. That Kid Rock, are you kidding? He's not even happy. Yeah, he's nothing. He's a washed up, musician. So
yeah,
I think, and then we had today that Lauren Boebert is back in the inner circle, and Lauren Boebert is no fan of the muskrat. So all of those things combined, I think, are going to be like little rocks being pelted at Elon, and he hates to be made fun of and be bullied, but that's what he's gonna feel like. We have the moon. I mean, again, this is going to be so hidden, so much subterfuge. You may even hear about him starting some new project for Dumpy out in Iowa or something. But the truth is that he has lost a lot of money. He has lost he's lost a lot of net worth because of his losing the money in his stocks. And I know they pumped money into the stock market to make it seem like the Tesla stocks were coming back up. But the truth is that I feel the truth. I'm saying, okay, my guides are telling me, I don't know if it's the truth. It's my guides are telling me the board of Tesla wants him gone. He's ruined the company. They don't really even want him to come back and pretend to run the company. What they want
him out.
They want him out so that they can just run the company. So that they can fix the problems with the cars, so that after the recall with the stupid trucks, they can just dump the line and move on to something else because the stupid trucks were a dumb idea. So he is going to feel it in the pocketbook, I think, which is amazing that he can feel it because he's supposedly the richest guy in the world. But what's at stake here is his fortune, his net worth. And so I think he is going to kind of skulk off in the night. You're not really going to know why he's gone, but he's going to be gone. And I think it's going to be very, very soon, imminent.
It also doesn't help that Laura Loomer has managed to worm her way back into Donald's good graces
who I meant,
again.
not Boebert. That's who I meant, not Boebert. Loomer. That's who I meant.
And
Loomer.
She's doing her damnedest to get him out.
She hates him. She just hates him. Yeah. She's terrible. Okay. All right. So moving right along here, we got the Florida voting. Both of the Republicans won, but by a fairly small margin. And this is just another thing that Elon's probably embarrassed about, and Trumpy too. But Cleo, what do you think about the Florida voting? Was it rigged? Wasn't it rigged? Was it right? Did really the Democrat won, but the Republicans tried to take it? What do you think went on there in Florida?
I didn't get that the Democrats won in Florida.
Okay.
I thought the Republicans won in Florida.
Well, that is what they said on the news. Yes.
By a small margin. I think it was probably an okay voting thing. I would have been really surprised, but it sure would have made a statement. I think it already did make a statement because I guess the margins were pretty narrow. And then when the thing happened with the woman up in Wisconsin, I believe that she won, that it is sending a message to the Republicans of, you know what, you're just one or two votes away from losing your thing,
Your margin, your margin.
your margin on the voting in the House and in the Senate. And I see more and more Republicans that when this is going to escalate, and it already is. I see more and more Republicans going, you know what? We've got to stop this. This is nonsense, and people are suffering from it. They're going to move with the Democrats. They're going to work with the Democrats, and they already are doing that, but not in the House. The House is a real stickler because in order for the Senate to do anything, the House has to approve it. For the House to do anything, the Senate has to approve it. So usually, I think that the thing in Florida was it's really sent a message to Republicans that no, not everybody thinks that what your king is doing is what we all want, and this nonsense of saying that this is what they voted for. I still see people trying to say that that's the case, that they voted for Trump because they wanted Trump to do this. No, but people are going to have to feel the pain. They're going to have to go through it. They're going to have to see what it feels like, and it's going to feel like pandemic on steroids. The pandemic was really, really hard and rough, but we had to deal with the fact that, people are getting sick and dying. Now we have to deal with the fact that the prices are going so high, and everybody knows that Biden handed Trump the best economy since the 60s, I believe, and with all the jobs and stuff that, this is the problem. And he's going to stick to his guns, and he's acting like, hey, we're going to be the richest nation ever. And I'm like, no, we already were. This was already the richest nation on earth. And now he has just destroyed it. So no, I don't believe that there was anything fraudulent with that Florida voting. If it happened that there was, I don't think so.
I think just every time Trump signs an order or puts something out or has a press conference or even speaks, I just think it's more testimony to how demented he is and how much he has slipped and how off his rocker he really is, and how he's not calling the shots whatsoever. He's just parroting out what somebody tells him to say or what somebody puts on a piece of paper in front of him. I just think it's very sad. I think he's a very sad person. He's very, very ill. He should not be in a position of any kind of responsibility. He should just be doing what he wants to do and having someone or his family take care of him. I just don't think he should be in a position of making decisions, especially not important decisions like the president of the United States. So that's what I think. Okay. So Sherry, the question to you is, so China, with all of their tariffs, this is going to increase the price of an iPhone because most of the iPhones are made in China. Most. So what does this mean for the United States? What does it mean for the world? Because I guess the world, well, maybe other countries, they're not paying all this nasty stuff from China, but we sure are. So what do you think?
Well, to start off, King of Pentacles with China, you're just going to make more money.
Yes, they are.
This is just really, they're just going to keep rolling it in. And then I got the Two of Cups. So there's going to be a lot of partnerships that are already forming between China and other countries.
Yes.
Where other countries are like, okay, we can't trust the U.S. anymore because we don't know when they're going to turn on us, because dodo brain is a dodo brain.
Yeah.
And so we got to start looking out for number one. And then I got the Five of Cups. I'm seeing, as far as the U.S. is going, there are a lot of people that are really regretting what they have done. and what they have voted for.
Mm.
There are a lot of people, as we well know, that are walking around with their heads up their butts going, this isn't what I voted for. How did this happen? You didn't pay attention. That's how it happened. You went with somebody that had all the bells and whistles in your face. Because again, TJT is very good at waving a little wand of his and making people think that he's the wizard.
Mhm.
And he can bring to them whatever their heart desires. What they don't realize is that he only cares about what his heart desires, not
Mhm.
theirs. We're going to see a lot of people are going to be losing their homes,
Oh,
losing their cars, losing more jobs, or
God.
getting cut back to part-time, or getting their salaries cut in half.
Mhm.
I mean, I work for the state. We just got an email late last night, this morning. The governor's putting a new hiring freeze for state employees. This afternoon, our director was sitting in an email emergency meeting on Monday. We're in the middle of hiring new faculty that we desperately need to teach all the classes that we have.
Wow.
They've used a lot of camouflage to make people think that they were on their side, and they were doing exactly what the people wanted them to do,
Yeah.
instead of showing what he was really doing. And that was, don't look at the man behind the curtain. He's not really there.
Mm. Wow. Yeah.
Well, there are some people now, the politicians that are saying that, Trump needs to stop lying to people.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well,
Duh.
that should have started about 10 years ago. But yeah, I mean, these people have been lied to and lied to and lied to, and they believed him. So I don't know if they're just gullible and naive or just plain stupid. But for them to think that whatever Trump did wasn't going to affect them, they're living in an alternate universe. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all going to happen to all of us. So
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to pop up what Connie said. University of Arizona just got a hiring freeze, and students with visas are being deported.
Ugh.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're living in very weird, very treacherous times. And
Another example, real quick. One of our students from India, one of our grad students, brilliant young man, working on his PhD. His father died unexpectedly a couple of weeks ago. And he literally was torn with, do I go home to be with my family and grieve my father and know that I will probably never be allowed to get back in the country to get my degree? Or do I stay and get my degree and try to make it up to my family and my deceased father after the fact? Nobody should have to make that decision.
No.
Nobody.
That's pretty horrible.
I don't care where you're from, what religion you follow. Nobody should have to make that kind of decision.
Yeah, that's just horrible. It's just awful. All right. The next question is to me. 500 law firms signed a brief challenging Trump's executive orders that are targeting the legal community. What effect is this going to have? What's going to happen with this? Ooh, cards are just jumping out. Wow. Okay, well, I'll take these two.
what effect is? I'm sorry, I missed part of that.
So what effect is this going to have in general? Just what's going to happen?
On who?
500 law firms filed a lawsuit against Trump, against his executive orders that are targeting the legal community, because he's suing law firms. He's writing out executive orders about law firms. He's targeting actual lawyers and just, he's just trying to basically put them out of business and get them to stop practicing law because they're winning against him. So what effect is this lawsuit of theirs going to have?
A lot of that's going to depend on the judges and if they enforce the laws.
Nope. It's going to be very successful.
Yeah, I think so
Good.
too.
It's going to be very successful, but it is going to take a little while. We're all going to be worried that it's hurry up, make it happen. But it does have to, come together, and it has to have time for enough law firms to sign on, and then it could become a class action, which would be very bad against the president. But they get the wheel of fortune. This is going to change things, at least for the legal community, and we need that. I know the courts are slow, but right now they're the only thing slowing down Dumpy. They're the only thing slowing him down. And at the base of it is the Hierophant, so this will affect the government. Behind it, this is the Dumpy administration just having a ball, laughing it up, yucking it up. Then, we're doing whatever the hell we want. It crowns with the Ace of Swords. The truth will come out. Truth will out. Truth will be important. The Hermit is in the future. Look at all these majors. The Hermit is in the future. So, shining the light of truth on the snake in the path. Just shining a light on it and just saying, hey, wake up, everybody. This is really bad. They got the moon here for their fears. They want everything to stay hidden and in the dark. Temperance. So again, it is just going to take a little while, but I'm not getting the Hanged Man. So I do think it's going to progress steadily through the courts. But for people who are not familiar with how slowly the wheels of justice turn, they turn slowly. But it is going to work. And as long as it's in the courts, then they can run in and get temporary restraining orders and things like that, which will be very, very helpful for the legal profession. What the Trump administration is hoping for is that they can just kind of bully their way through it, that they can just kind of, just say things. They can just say, well, you can't do this because it didn't do that, like the stupid stuff that they're saying with the deportations to El Salvador. They're just making stuff up. Well, we couldn't pull the plane back because it was in international airways. There is no such thing, first of all. When you're in an airplane and you go outside the airspace of your own country, you're still in the soil, technically, of your home country, whatever home country the plane is from. There is no international airspace that when you're flying, that just doesn't exist. So they're just making shit up right and left. And most of it isn't even in well-formed sentences when they say it. It's just terrible. These guys, you can't believe these guys went to law school, because the stuff that comes out of their mouth is ridiculous. The end result is the fool. However, I feel that this is the beginning of a new journey for not just the legal profession, but for our government, and the binding together of the various branches of government that need to work in tandem in order to bring about a fair government for everybody. So I think that's a very positive thing. God, I did 10 cards. I'm sorry. I've been doing 5 cards all night. So I think the end result of this is going to be very, very good. The cards that jumped out of the deck are the King of Swords, which is a legal person, and Strength. So they have the know-how, the strength, the knowledge, the wherewithal, the gumption, the numbers to make a huge difference against Dumpy and all of his ridiculous attorneys. And God, somebody just put that man in a hospital, because that's where he needs to be.
Cole, I got to agree with you 100% about everything you just said. Yes, these attorneys, they're not just going to kick back and go, oh, okay, there's nothing we can do. That's not.
Yeah, right. No, they're not.
Plus, all these other politicians that are watching this, whether they're for Trump or against Trump, the bottom line is that those people they've got to go along with the Constitution. They've got to uphold the law through the Constitution. And the lawyers, more than anybody in the country, is well aware of what the Constitution says, what it means, and how it's supposed to be run. And that nobody, I don't care, this corrupt Supreme Court just pisses me off, but there's no way that they can say one person is above all this, and that would be the president. That he's just doing his job. No. And I see lawyers going after the Supreme Court. I see the Supreme Court kind of backing off because they're going to be replaced eventually. But yes, these attorneys that are like, he wants to do, oh, okay, yeah, sure. They'll just get together, regroup, and start. There's so many little tricks when you're an attorney. So many different ways that one thing can turn into a couple dozen different ways to approach it.
Yes.
So they're not. But it's Trump's thing is to delay. That's what he was doing this whole time he was campaigning for this presidency. So, he's going to be doing the same kind of thing. So he thinks that when he puts stuff out there, that it will just, it will be what he wants to have done. And in the meantime, let these people over on the side fight it all. I think the people on the side are going to find ways to halt it immediately and then argue about it. Not sit there and argue about it and hope they can change it 6 months down the road. I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Well, and I heard something the other day about one of the judges got really, really ticked off at some of DJG's lawyers and basically said,
Boasberg.
yeah,
It's about
basically said, do you want to keep your law license?
Yeah.
You better straighten up and stop being ridiculous with this.
Yeah. And Sherry, maybe you can help me out with this. I think this was on a Midas Touch or a Legal AF episode. I think it was with Popak, and they were talking about one of the cases. I think it was the case with the them just flouting the judge about the planes to El Salvador and all that. And I think what Popak was saying was that if that case goes up, that could be the case that allows the SCOTUS to rule and overturn the immunity clause, right? Is that? Did you hear that too?
I heard that. It was Popak. It was on Popak because he was talking about they were trying to make out the fact that, oh, well, the planes had already took off because we didn't get the written law.
Yeah,
it has to be written before we get it. And the judges came back and said, no. The minute the judge says, this is my ruling, in that second, that is the ruling.
That's the ruling.
Time starts counting from that moment on.
Yes. Yeah.
And so
go ahead. I'm sorry.
They're talking about holding up all of these attorneys as well, of holding them accountable for trying to just BS the courts with this. Well, the plane was here and the plane was there and it already landed or this or that.
Yeah.
They're like, no.
Yeah.
No.
And they know exactly what I just said about the international airspace.
Right.
Come on. So I'm hoping, now we had talked, and I think it was just last week, we were talking about, how would they get that immunity case overturned? And this might be a case that could filter up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court then would have to rule, and that would give them an opportunity to overturn the immunity clause. And I think that SCOTUS at this point is probably eager to do that because they're seeing that they have unleashed a monster, absolute monster, both legal and figuratively. He is a monster. So, that, that's right, Libby. One of the planes hadn't even taken off. Yeah. And, they're just literally flouting the judge, and the judges will not take kindly to that. This is a federal judge. I mean, he's not a Supreme Court judge, but he's only a step down from it, really. So,
and the one of the women lawyers who goes on with Popak on a regular basis, Dina Dahl.
Mm-hmm.
She was talking about the fact that all of these ridiculous tariffs that he has thrown out, from tariffing penguins of all things to God knows what, but that a lot of those cases very well could be moved up to SCOTUS that might wait, because Roberts has already given him warning a couple of times now.
Yeah.
You better back off, or it's going to be you're out.
I believe the phrase you're looking for is it's going to be no bueno. That's what it's going to be for Trumpy. It's going to be no bueno. Oh my goodness. Well, okay. Well, we've been on an hour, and did we do any of the starred questions?
Well, a lot of the start questions were revolved around what we were already
Yeah.
talking about anyway.
Yeah. Okay. All
There
right.
was one thing that Libby had put in that I didn't know anything about.
Is it in the
So
stars?
I started because I wasn't.
Okay. Oh, I see it. Okay.
Yeah, it's like right down near the bottom.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that
I don't know
either.
anything about it, about the
Okay, I'm going to write it down, and
Biden's EO. Yeah.
I'll do that on another show.
I was thinking of doing the same. It's like, well, first I'm going to look it up
Yeah.
and see what kind of information I can get on it. And then maybe tonight I'll do a little
As
short
usual, we've got somebody that
reading on
doesn't.
it.
We got somebody that doesn't even live in this country that knows
knows
more about what's
more.
going on than we do.
Yeah.
Libby, yay!
And we're digesting this stuff 24/7 almost, and still, I
Wow.
mean,
Yeah.
I know last night I took a break. I was like, if I hear one more lawyer talk about one more thing, I'm going to scream. Instead, I went and started watching
Same.
weird crypto
Terry, a word of advice.
videos.
This is what the Hallmark channel is for. Just
I don't have the Hallmark channel.
go in, watch stupid romantic shows that have 17 seasons. You never run out of them. You just put it on auto and just let them play.
Just let it rip.
Just let your mind kind of go.
I do the
That's what we need.
They saw a Bigfoot. No, they saw a dog man. No, they show these little shaky videos from somebody's phone. It's like, dude, if you're that damn scared to take a video of whatever it is you think you see, perhaps you should run and not worry about getting the video. I mean, if it's that scary. But
another thing that's really good to calm your mind is redecorating videos. Those are always good. Renovation videos, I love those. Taking an old place,
there's
renovating it. I just love those.
Buys old homes and then restores
them.
Yep,
that's good. Tiny homes, that's a good topic.
Yeah.
History tea time with what's her name? History tea time with. I'll look it up again because I recommended it before.
I've got it saved. There's one channel that does a lot of the
Lindsay Holiday history tea time.
Legends.
Yes.
And breaks it down like all the individual nights and stuff.
Yep, I love those. Yeah.
It's fascinating. It's like, I never knew that stuff. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So
that's our mental health advice for the show. Yes, Cleo, what did you want to add?
Some people had asked early on in the show talking about Kamala, and they're still talking about Kamala. They want to know when Trump's going to be out and who's going to be in. Will it be Kamala? And I've just got to tell these people to please be patient and try to ride this horrible wave that we're on. It's going to, and I keep saying this, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
It's going to get even worse because of what we're going through right now with the tariffs and a bunch of other things. So, but all the things you're worried about, it's still in the works. It's still, we just have to see where it goes. I mean, this is pretty precarious of trying to figure out when somebody's going to go out and when somebody's going to come in, because actually I thought maybe we'd see more about that by now. But what I have been talking about is that this kind of all this stuff that's been happening in this last week and will continue to happen. This is really good, is because the Democrats are starting to do something now. They're starting to get on board. They're realizing that, yes, it's not business as usual. Even though we're talking about all these court cases and stuff, that's going to make a difference. All the protests, the people that are out there protesting, that's going to make a difference. Cory Booker, he's making a difference. Bernie Sanders, he's making a difference. But these things do take a lot more time than I can't believe that it's taken off in this direction where it's probably going to really hurt us financially, and that means everybody. I mean, it's just the way it's going to be. So I'm just saying, keep your head above water, keep the faith. Hey, things will change, and we do see a much better future, but it's going to take a while because of this this person that's running the show. So anyway, I just wanted to tell people that it's all still in the works. Keep listening to Sterling.
And Libby, both. They're both right on top of it.
Yes. It's gonna work out in the end, but it's not gonna be painless in between time.
No.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm starting to get faculty that are now sharing articles through the email at work of this order and that order, and you can kind of hear the panic in their voices as they're sharing it. And I was like, and some of them I've responded to and said, yeah, I told y'all that last year.
I'm thinking that
Not that I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so.
I'm hearing that this summer, as things are going to be on the upswing, maybe not totally cured, but on the up, healing. Things start to be healing, and we'll see a different side of things that gives us all hope. So just hold on for a few more months and take care of yourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good advice, Cleo. Really good advice. And all of this has to happen in order for us to come out the other side.
Exactly.
It's really, really important. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us for PoliTarology, my favorite game, and I hope it's yours too. And thank you for everybody in the chat, all of your wonderful questions. I hope we did answer most of them. I guess me and Sherry are both going to be on our own channels doing more readings because there's a lot more stuff to go on to. Thanks, Libby. Libby says, mwah, and hugs.
Yeah, I'm telling you, she's
Thank
got
you.
some great stuff that she puts out. Y'all definitely should watch her channel.
Yeah, you should. And
I've learned so much watching her. It's like I didn't know we did that. Oh, damn. I should be ashamed of myself.
All right, everybody. And if you do have questions that you want me to answer, then go into this video on the replay and put them in the comments there. And I will take a look at them. And I will probably be coming on live maybe not live. Maybe I'll record it, though, this weekend. So thanks, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy PoliTarology. And we'll see you next time. Bye.